When news recently broke that the Indian football team would be sending a full strength or as close to possible as full strength team for the 2023 Asian Games, Indian football fans were obviously very pleased. Not only does this ensure that the players get more game time, but by sending some of your top players, you're also putting yourself in a very good position to potentially at least be in contention for a medal, if not necessarily win one. And of course, when I say full strength, I mean that in the Asian Games, it's essentially an under-23 tournament on the men's side, and you're only allowed 3 players who are over and above that age, and the 3 players who will be then fulfilling that role for India are of course Gurpreet Singh Sandhu, Sunil Chhetri and Jhingan, all top pros with many years of experience at this point, stalwarts of the team and guaranteed first choice starters in the national team whenever it is that they're playing a game. Or are they actually going to be in the Asian Games? Because that's the thing. Despite the fact that the AIFF president Kalyan Chaubey has himself confirmed that all 3 players will be going and they've now been named in the squad that was announced by the AIFF, there still seems to be a little bit of a discrepancy in terms of their availability or lack thereof. So in this video, what we're going to do is we'll quickly go over why it is this discrepancy exists and whether or not this is something that the AIFF even has as much control over as it is potentially trying to claim. Let's quickly take a look at first what it is that this uncertainty stems from. First things first, and it's worth noting that the Asian Games as it is falls outside of the FIFA window. Now, if there are FIFA or AFC games that are happening, then during that point, clubs are obliged to release players from club duty to be playing for their national team. However, since this Asian Games does not fall under the FIFA window, therefore clubs are not actually obliged, and therefore the real question arises as to whether or not any issues could potentially prop up in the future, because again, if clubs aren't at all obliged, then obviously there are a few question marks as to whether or not they would just be so willingly okay with all of their star players going and playing in a tournament where they don't really need to be playing and where the clubs themselves don't need to be releasing them in the first place. Well, at least according to, if you go by what the AIFF president himself had said, he said there is no problem, these players will be going. But again, if you go by what sources are actually saying to media outlets, the story is a little bit different. If you're looking at what this one particular AIFF source said to the Times of India newspaper, the source said that the Federation is speaking with the clubs about the release of players. But if we stick to this plan, the players will be away from club duties for too long. And that is a valid point, because what is happening now with the Indian football domestic system is that they're looking to make the season much longer, which is why you have the Durand Cup, which will be starting from August 3rd. That is going to be like the pre-season of sorts. Then you're going to be having, the ISL, I-League run in tandem, this time with ISL getting guaranteed top flight status and I-League winners getting promoted to the ISL. Thereafter, you will have, the Federation Cup take place. So you're actually having 2 tournaments as well as, of course, a full league season, the aim of which is to increase the number of games that are being played at the domestic club level. But can club teams actually be guaranteed, let's say, maximum attendance in terms of stadiums or maximum watchers on TV if their star players are not available throughout that time? More importantly, it is worth noting that when it comes to the debate, and I know a lot of you will draw parallels to, say, a club versus country or potentially what happens to IPL and internationals, but it's very different here because in football, it always has been club over country. It never really has been about, the international game being more important. In fact, many would argue that club glory or being able to play for your local club is seen as an even bigger win than sometimes being able to play for your country, because being able to play for your country, if you're not, say, like in India, you're not a team that regularly or qualifies for FIFA World Cups at all, then there isn't that much value to it. But if you can make a good living by playing the club game, then that's a pretty good win for you. Similarly, there are many players who might not be able to win a World Cup, but their main objective in, say, Europe would be to win a Champions League. So the debate about club versus country is irrelevant in football, because in football, it always is club over country. And what makes things more complicated is that in the days of the past, what would tend to happen is that the AIFF president, particularly if we're talking about the days of Priyanjan Das Munshi, Rishi would simply just give a directive to the I-League clubs and they would release the players with no further question. That is because the I-League was in itself the baby of the AIFF. That is not the case with the ISL, which in itself is privately run by, of course, FSDL, Football Sports Development Limited, a company that has been put in place by Reliance. Now, would Reliance be this compliant and say, no, it's perfectly okay that all of our star players are going to be playing the Asian Games at a time when we don't really need to release them? We don't know for sure, but what we do hope is that an amicable solution is reached, because again, it would be a very embarrassing thing if you named all of these 3 players and then if they are recalled either before or worse, not released at all, or then recalled in the middle of the tournament. It would not be a great look, and naturally fans would be left fuming. What is your thoughts on this entire thing? Should clubs simply just roll over and say, look, let these players play the Asian Games? Or should they actually hold their ground and say, no, shouldn't actually do that because we don't have to? You can let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the Sportsnut app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead and check out some other videos that we've done. But for now, from my side, it is goodbye.